T-Dog, J-Boy, and me, I'm Lugs. Our pride and joy is pumping our mugs. Be careful, kids, it could get rough. We're flipping our lids on sports and other stuff.
Welcome to Sport Weasel Central. I'm Lugs.
I'm J-Boy.
And I'm T-Dog.
Yes, sir, we're back and better than ever. This is going to be a great show. The NFL flexes its mighty muscle once again, delivering more than 12 million viewers, they say, to the NFL draft last weekend in Detroit. Reports also say hundreds of thousands, I heard as many as 700,000, I don't buy that, gathered in the Motor City. And Lugs, was that you there introducing pick number 186? Did I see you?
I wish I could have been.
All right, well, tell us.
Say,
I thought it was you. I bet money on that. I thought it was you.
okay.
So what did you like? What did you see? Start with that. What did you like?
Well, I mean, they've made it a spectacle. You got to give it to NFL if it's Roger Goodell or whomever it is. I hesitate to give him any credit because I just want to slap him sometimes. But anyway, they've made it a spectacle worth watching, and it shows. I mean, it is an event. I guess the biggest surprise for me and for apparently the world of NFL was the fact that Atlanta took Michael Penix with the 8th pick. That was strange, but not unheard of. What do you think about it, Dog?
Well, if we're talking about the Penix thing, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, to be quite honest with you. I mean, I love Michael Penix, but you paid $60 million to Kirk Cousins. I forget how much is guaranteed.
100 guaranteed, my friend. 100 large.
100 large guaranteed.
Jeez. To sit on the bench, or what's he gonna do?
Well, that's the thing is this is they created a catch-22. Now, either Kirk Cousins plays out the tenure of his career, in which their GM Fontenot's said on the mic, which he'll probably live in infamy down the road. He's like, well, if Michael Penix doesn't start till like his 4th or 5th year, he's like, that's not a bad thing. It's like, your defense, you haven't had a good pass rusher, John Abraham, which goes back to like 2006 or something. There were multiple pass rushers. I mean, essentially on defense, they have two good players. Grady Jarrett, who's had a very solid career, who's getting a little long in the tooth. So, I mean, I don't know how many years he really has left playing as an inside pass rusher. And then H.A. Terrell, who's been a fairly good corner for him, he's in a contract year. He might not even be there. So they could have taken Mitchell, who went to the Eagles, or they could have taken Byron Murphy, who went to the Seahawks. Or they, I don't know. Or they could have taken Dallas Turner, a great pass rusher that somehow the Vikings got at like pick 17.
Yep.
It's just, I don't know. It just boggles my mind a little bit that they would do this.
Do they know something about Kirk Cousins' physical health that we don't know?
But why would they have signed him to the big ass contract?
Well, that's the thing. To be fair to what J-Boy's saying, it's still egg on their face regardless. You have the right to medically evaluate someone before you have them sign a contract. Now, either you fire your doctor and you're just eating it now. I mean, maybe you're right, Lugs, but it's just, I mean, that's why it stuns so many people is there's no way they can explain this making any sense whatsoever.
Okay, so like the first game, I think, or second game is Saints and Falcons on Prime. Okay, if Cousins coughs up a hairball, people are going to be screaming for Penix. Okay, you can't have a guy making $50 million a year carry a clipboard, number one. Number two, Penix, guys, is already 26 years old. Jordan Love is younger than Michael Penix Jr.
He's not 26 years old.
Well, look it up.
He's 24.
He's 20. Yeah, he's all
right.
Yeah. He's older. Look, to be fair to your point, J-Boy, he is older. So if he was to set for 4 years,
okay.
I mean, he's almost 30. So you still have a point, a very valid point. I'm not disagreeing with that.
Yeah,
I
okay,
was trying
24,
to-
26, 30. I
Well-
don't know, but he's older. He's not young.
Bottom line for me was that wimpy statement that I think it's Mike McCartney, Kirk Cousins' agent, saying they didn't know anything about it. Hell, take your $100 million and shut
True.
up.
True.
Just shut up.
Nobody's
I'm
crying
sorry.
rivers for him, right?
No, and speaking of Rivers, Philip Rivers, Kirk Cousins is second only to Philip Rivers for being a bridesmaid. Okay, I mean Kirk Cousins in a division that they should win handily. If he just shows up, he's a B, maybe a B plus quarterback for me. But he is steady. I'll give him that. But
Thank you, Mr. Know-It-All.
I mean, how did you sneak Philip Rivers into this podcast? I don't even get that.
Well,
Go ahead.
You gave me the opening, baby. I love a segue. Now, I had a segue.
What was that? Was that the word of the day? Password? The password is Rivers.
Anyway, bottom line, the last left-handed quarterback Atlanta had was the last time they were legitimately in the hunt, and that was Michael Vick. So maybe that's a little. They're going back a long
Ooh.
ways for a South.
Nice. I like it. I like
Wait,
it.
whoa. Let's pump the brakes here. Are you looking past Matt Ryan, who literally took the team to a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
And ate it.
Well, look, I like Michael Vick a lot, but let's not do this revisionist history that Michael Vick was the better quarterback than Matt Ryan. He was not.
He was not.
Look at their histories. I understand Michael Vick was more exciting. He had a lot of great plays. I know Matt Ryan's play was very kind of meat and potatoes, ho hum. He was a much better NFL quarterback for the duration of his career.
Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins, they're from the same sandwich.
Look, I like Kirk Cousins.
Sandwich.
Look, I like Kirk Cousins. Matt Ryan was an MVP, legitimately. Took a team to a Super Bowl. Wasn't really his fault, I think. Their defense was trash in that game when they were up 28-3. So I don't know.
And the word Penix is easy to cheer if you're an unruly crowd. Penix. Number one. Number two, T-Dog, to your point about Cousins and getting him weapons. They had another pick there instead of Penix. They could have gotten him the greatest wide receiver that was available. There's so many this year. And like you said, they could have beefed up that defense with an edge rusher or whatever, and they just get a backup quarterback.
Well, again,
So far as we know.
If they wanted Penix, they needed to take him. They didn't need to take because the Raiders were going to take him.
Right. And the Raiders are miffed, aren't they? They're ticked.
They had to be, but you know what? Credit to the Raiders. You know what? They had a very talented tight end that they took in the second round last year, Michael Mayer from Notre Dame, and he started to show flashes of really being like a big piece going forward. And they drafted Brock Bowers, and someone's like, "Well, you're not getting on them for taking another tight end." You can play two tight ends at the same time. You can't play two quarterbacks at the same time. And also, Brock Bowers is really kind of probably going to be like a juiced up, bigger Cooper Kupp. I mean, he's going to be a receiver. Where Michael Mayer is a traditional, true, like inline tight end. They have the same position, but they're not really the same position type of thing. So.
All right, let's move on from Cousins, Penix, and the quarterback controversy. They'll be there for a number of years. What else did you like? Who do you think did really well? Lugs, let's start with you.
Well, I guess you've got to, for you Chicago homers, you've got to love the
who we thought they were.
You've got to love that. But I thought, from what I saw, I thought Pittsburgh did well. They had some real good picks. And Arizona, I mean, how many picks did they have? They had like 11 picks or so. It was like every time.
World record,
now
I
on
think.
the clock is Arizona.
Yeah.
I was just like, wow, they're building. I mean, if nothing else, they've got people to spare when injury time hits. So those two teams, I thought, did pretty darn well. So what do you think, Dog?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I try to stay away from being completely homer. I'm not saying that I do a good job of it. I don't.
You don't.
I don't.
You don't.
Yeah, but let's give props. Getting Caleb Williams, getting Roma Dunzier. I know he wasn't technically in this draft, but they used the second round draft pick on Montez Sweat, who helped turn was what if he was the key ingredient or not, whatever. He was a big part of them turning around the back end of the season and helped Eberflus keep his job. Where the defense all of a sudden really turned it around. And I'm not saying to put it all on him, but I think he was a big factor in it. Also, they took a 4th-round pick from this year's draft, and they got Keenan Allen. So Caleb Williams in his first year will have Roma Dunzier, DJ Moore, and Keenan Allen.
That's a pretty good trio right there, isn't it?
So again, that goes in the draft capital for this year. And then, I know some of the other guys aren't overwhelming, but the guy from Yale, he probably would have been drafted higher if he didn't have an injury. And, they need a swing tackle, and maybe, with the year he'll develop into a starter in a year. I know he's a punter, but they needed a punter. They were like 31st in, I believe, net yardage on punts last year. They were dreadful. And, he went like he was like the big offensive weapon essentially at Iowa last year.
Plus, he's Australian. He's Australian.
And
good night,
mate. Austin Booker again, kind of like the offensive tackle out of Yale. He had very limited snaps in his career, but he showed moments, and they needed a developmental pass rusher. So obviously I like theirs. And I gave them a lot of crap last year, but we kind of saw what they were doing. It's kind of like what the Bears have done and what other teams have done. What I think is smart, when you're not going to be that good, just burn it to the ground. And that's what Arizona did a year ago. And you look at what Arizona did, they brought in Marvin Harrison Jr., most people would say the best receiver in the class, and I'm not going to probably disagree with that. They brought in Darius Robinson from Missouri, the pass rusher, because they need some – and they got Max Melton, and, then they get Trey Benson, a speed guy out of the backfield, just adding around Kyler Murray and his speed. And, then they get Tip Ryman from Illinois, who's also a fairly athletic tight end. And so, like, they're building out their roster, and they in the first 3 rounds alone, they had 7 picks in the first 3 rounds. So, like, they're building the team up through the draft, which helps financially, and then you can maybe use free agency to like build your depth. And they've gone about that the right way. I don't think they've made like big drastic splurges in the free agency. So they're building the team up. Again, I'll admit Gannon, I was very hard on the hire. He coached his team fairly well last year, and I just think what the front office is doing, they have it going in the right direction.
How about the Minnesota Vikings? Did you like them, Lugs, with that J.J. McCarthy? I know you've been a fan of J.J.'s. maybe
again,
not.
they got themselves probably another Kirk Cousins. He'll probably be a steady pro. He doesn't have a big arm. He's definitely not going to run the ball. So that will be interesting. And Sam Darnold, I would say Sam, after the first or second interception, J.J. McCarthy will be pushed into the starting role.
Man, you are cold. You are cold on Darnold, man. Just cold with that boy.
Yeah, well, that's life. I think for me, the biggest loser in the draft was Drake May. Man, he's got nobody. I mean, they got Jalen Polk after him to be a receiver, but there's nobody on that New England team. It's just sad to watch a guy that has some talent be saddled with a team like that. And think about that. I mean, New England was the gold standard for a long time. Yeah. And that is gone.
Hey, how many quarterbacks is this since Brady left for them? Anybody top of mind? 4, 5, 4?
Well, what the like true starters,
Yeah,
or you saying guys who got starts, like were the
I guess true.
like I no, it's really only
Sure.
been Mac Jones. I guess you're counting Zappy and
Yeah.
your
All right.
Brissett.
well, Brissett didn't start once Tom Brady.
Mac Jones is
they
who
did,
I was thinking
They
of.
did. Yeah, they did. Like Brissett will probably start maybe at the beginning of the year. If
Yeah.
Drake May's not, I think Drake May will be.
Just interesting to think about. Now, new regime there, so we'll see how it shakes out.
I'll put it this way, just very quickly. I'll just try to wrap it up real quick. If Drake May doesn't start, I think it's more so the situation around him is why he's not starting, not because Drake May can't be ready to play. I think maybe they're going to be cautious because you kind of like look at what they have around him outside of Ramondre Stevenson in the backfield. Not a lot's going on right. So,
Yeah, no offensive line too. They do have a little bit of defense, but that's about it. So
okay, we got who you liked. Who did you think? I mean, we talked about Cousins and Penix and that. Who do you think just totally botched this whole draft, and what are they doing? And go get a new job at the grocery store. Who's that?
I won't say they totally botched it, but you look at what the Jaguars did outside of Brian Thomas Jr., who I think can be. I mean, after losing Calvin Ridley in free agency, where again it felt like they had money set to the side and they just got by the Titans. Brian Thomas Jr. can step in and fill the role of being a true number one. Now it might take him till the end of the year to maybe become that, or even year two. But you look at their defense. I mean, they have some really talented guys on the defensive line. And I'll give them an out on this. There were not like a lot of great linebackers in this class. So they weren't going to get a lot of help on that. But like they really needed a corner. And they didn't draft one until the fifth round. Now, I'm not saying DeAndre Prince can't turn into a star down the road, but I don't know. That's putting yourself in a real dire situation where I think, Anthony Richardson, even though I know he's noted for the very brief tenure he was healthy for more his running, like he's going to be chucking the ball in that division. You look at what they've built around Will Levis, mainly through free agency, they're going to be chucking the ball in that division, and obviously CJ Stroud's going to be chucking it. So like you essentially spent no good draft capital on secondary, and you have one who already looks like a star in CJ Stroud, and two guys who have some legitimate talent that can maybe really flourish in their second season. And you're just like, yeah, go ahead. We're gonna try to win 35-32 type games.
yeah, the other surprise for me was Denver taking Bo Nix. Again, he's 24 at this point, but I would expect he will start. But I think he fits with Sean Payton, the head coach. I think Sean Payton and those guys think of him maybe a little bit, like the glory days in New Orleans with Breeze. But I was kind of surprised that he went that high. But after the Penix thing, I guess nothing was really surprising as far as quarterback. And it was obviously an offensive player's year.
It was a record, wasn't it? The first 14, I think, were all offensive players, close to a record anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a single digit, this is a record, single digit defensive players taking the first round.
Wow. Think about that.
So,
Well, it's exciting. Here it is almost knocking on May 1st, and look at all these storylines. The NFC North has two brand new quarterbacks. You talked about the Falcons and the Saints in that division in the NFC South. And then think about the Steelers with two quarterbacks, Fields and Russell, and what's going to happen there. I mean, it's just like already it's drama, drama, drama. And we haven't released the schedule yet.
and the other one I just want to give a shout out to just because I loved it because, everyone calls draft the lying season. The one thing you got to love about Jim Harbaugh is all throughout the drumbeat, he's just like we're a running team. We're gonna like build our line, and they're like, well, and someone I think asked him a question. I think a combine is like, well, you need weapons. It's like we think of offensive linemen as our weapons. sure enough, he was telling the truth. He took Joe Alt with their first overall pick, and then they got Lad McConkey, in the second to give them a wide receiver, and Junior Colson, a linebacker out of Michigan, obviously that Jim is familiar with. They needed a linebacker. Their linebackers have been awful for years, and Junior Colson was the leader of that defense. So I think they got 3 legitimate starters out of the chute. So credit to them. Their line will be good with Rashawn Slater on the other side of Joe Alt, and Herbert. Statistically might take a seat back, but he might have one of his better years playing quarterback.
A little sidebar I enjoyed hearing was at least 2 teams asked if Herbert was available before the draft, which I thought that's kind of speaks to, Harbaugh maybe thinking something else.
Yeah, but they would have to have some serious draft capital to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
And Herbert is still on the rookie deal, right?
No, he got paid.
He signed. He got paid.
He got paid.
Yeah.
Did he? Okay, then, yeah.
Think about it. Okay, 20 minutes into the program. Lugs, do you have any sports of yesteryear today?
Yes, we do.
All right, well, let's go ahead and do that. Can you guys hear that theme right there?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
good. All right, good. Let's do sports of yesteryear. It's our old buddy Lugs. He's out and about in his Pinto, and here he comes. Go ahead, Lugs.
A very diverse sports of yesteryear, starting with a first. 1859, American Paul Morphy, widely regarded as the world's best chess player, retires after returning from a 10-month chess tour in Europe. Yes, folks, chess is a sport. We don't know why, but there you go. 1921, first American Professional Football Association Championship. Undefeated Akron Pros are awarded the inaugural title. 1946, Cleveland Indians pitcher Bob Feller's second career Major League no-hitter beats the Yankees 1-0. 1985, NFL Draft, Virginia Tech defensive end Bruce Smith, first picked by the Buffalo Bills. And 2022, Brock Purdy is selected by San Francisco. Final pick in the draft, becoming Mr. Irrelevant. That's it for this edition of Sports of Yesteryear.
Thank you, Lugs, for that little bit of information. I have to bring up something else with you boys. What'd you think of the ESPN coverage with Nick Saban sitting at the desk with Kirk Herbstreit? What'd you guys think of that this year?
Saban was pretty good. I thought he was insightful.
Yeah, I mean, again, he and Belichick are very similar in that, like, in front of a mic, they're not going to have a lot of juice. There was a lot of awkward, like them trying to do banter with him and him just giving a straight answer, and they're just like, "That's not what we really wanted, but we're going to do innate laughter pattern," where they just laugh it's like, "You have any special talents, Nick Saban?" He's like, "Not that I could think of," and then they just start laughing afterwards. Like, "What? Why are you laughing?" He's like, "I don't want to engage in this."
Yeah.
But like Lugs said, like when he talked about a guy, he would talk about what he really likes about this player, and then he says these are things he needs to work on. He didn't say like. Usually, maybe Lugs was more locked in on it. Maybe he clued sometimes like I would not have drafted that player, but like he was usually very nice about how he went about it. And that like he's like I like this guy's speed, like he's good at like rerouting wide receivers on press. He needs to work on his back pedal more. Like he was usually very insightful on all of them on like what he likes, what he thinks they need to improve on, and I just think like. It kind of shows you like, he's maybe never going to be on, Fox because they want guys who are like big and loud and brash. But
yeah,
like he maybe doesn't have a lot of sizzle, but he's a lot of steak.
X and O kind of guy. And he is 70 years old, right? I mean.
Yeah.
Lugs, was that Mel Kiper's real hair?
Dang, guys.
I mean, do you get tired of Mel, or do you guys like Mel? How do you feel about Mel? Just a little top of
I'm
mind.
over Mel. Mel's overhyped.
He's been around for so long.
I can never. Look, I'm not gonna say I really watched Mel because I watched NFL Network's first round.
Yeah.
But I can never hate Mel Kiper because he made an industry out of nothing. Like he made, the kind of making. He was a big part of making the draft like
A thing.
its own industry.
Yeah.
A cottage industry. So that's why I can never dislike him. I will give you this: he can be very. Just his speech pattern, it can kind of.
I love it.
On you.
That's the part I like because you can, he can be imitated easily, and I do like that part.
He's the Howard Cosell of this generation.
You're to a point. I think you're right about that. Okay, let me ask you this question: Rich Eisen, Reese Davis, particular care about either one?
I like Rich Eisen because I think he knows how to I think he knows how to play traffic cop a little bit better than Reese Davis. I think Reese is very. I'm not saying Reese is bad at it, but he's just very and again, I don't know if this is him or ESPN. They make you very kind of just like bland,
vanilla, generic. Yep, I agree.
Yeah,
yep.
Eisen shows a little color. Now, to be fair, not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this too, even though I like Eisen, a lot less color than he thinks he does. Sometimes he does come off with that where he's like, I got this really great take. He's like, it's okay. His radio show or podcast or whatever you want to call it, at times it's all right. It's never great, but I don't know. I like Eisen.
Okay, so if you're a regular watcher of ABC television, I'm not sure how many are, but if you were, are you tired of 2 full days like round the clock of NFL draft and just oddball people coming up in that second and third and fourth rounds who you don't even know who they are? And they're, for the 48th pick, the little kids come up. And what do you guys make of that? Is that good TV or is that kind of like, are you kidding me?
That's not good TV in the strictest sense of entertainment. You're waiting for those just weird moments.
I think they happen. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's what it's there for. It's sort of car wreck TV. You're just waiting for that strangeness, like at a hockey game, waiting for the fight.
And I think what part sums it up best in terms of what Lugs is talking about. I wish they would do more like ticket holders who are super fans who have to come up on stage dressed all ridiculous.
There's plenty of those people there. Yeah.
And then they read off a name who they have no idea who the hell it is.
That's my favorite part right there.
Then they have to act excited, from Western Michigan.
Yep.
Rashando Keeneland. And he's like, yeah, all right.
That's the guy we wanted. Well, next year it's in Green Bay. Now, Detroit's a big city. Green Bay, we know, is not. Do you think they can pull it off? Hotel rooms, logistics. That's a lot of work there for a town of, 100,000, I think Green Bay is.
Well, hotels, it'll be out of Milwaukee or someplace, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, if they do, are they going to do Lambeau?
Yeah, I don't think I know the plan yet. I don't think they've revealed that master plan yet from the corner office.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the tradition there, and Green Bay is back and competitive. So you've got.
Well, that was last year. You're in the past there, my friend. You got 2 new hot shots: Minnesota, Chicago Bears, and the Detroit Lions.
Wait. Hot shot, J.J. McCarthy. He may be a hot pocket, but he's not a hot shot. Okay?
I think he's going to be one of the surprises, actually. Totally going to be one of the surprises, is my feeling on that.
Okay. And
Totally.
Jared Goff, I'm sorry. I just can't get on board. I tried. I am glad for him. He's doing okay in Detroit, but he is in Detroit.
Heartbeat away from a Super Bowl last year. What are you talking? And what channel, Mel Kiper, did you watch? What are you talking about, man?
Now, I got to say, Detroit, man, you talk about depth. Those boys. I think of Detroit as say, San Francisco was 2 years ago. So, I mean, they're just packed. And speaking of San Francisco, Debo, I'm thinking, won't be in a 49ers uniform come the fall.
Is that why they drafted all those wideouts and stuff? They kind of beefed up.
Yeah. So they've got to unload some of that salary cap.
I will at least give Luggs this. The thing is, it feels like they can't roll with all three because Juwan Jennings was actually, if you remember the playoffs, Juwan Jennings.
Yep.
If Brock Purdy wasn't hit, Juwan Jennings was probably catching a winning touchdown in the Super Bowl, and he had a great Super Bowl game, and he started to emerge. And Debo, look, Debo is one of my favorite players, but he is highly injury prone.
Yep.
And it just feels like Ayuk can beat man coverage where Debo has had problems beating man coverage. He's great against zone, so it does feel like, if you're going to offload one of them, it'd probably be Debo.
And we know with age, those injury-prone things don't go away; they get worse. So you're probably right.
Yeah. Can I do a short tangent on two, and I'll let you all respond one by one. First off, I'll just call this short segment "Owners Out of Control." I don't know if you all heard about the Carolina Panthers owner David Tepper. There is a restaurant in Charlotte that had a sign outside that said, "Let the GM and the coaches make the picks." And David Tepper went in to the restaurant and was talking to the person up front and pulled off the hat of a guy and was pointing at him. Now, some of it was cordial, but that's a pretty aggressive move, going up to someone and taking their hat off. And it's just you're a billionaire. Why are you so ate up about a local restaurant taking a shot at you? You should be above that.
Right. Tepper's a nut job.
Yeah.
This is the same guy who threw a drink at a Jaguars fan last season. It was fine. So it's just I don't know. And actually transitioning off that one, the Carolina Panthers in the second round took running back Jonathan Brooks, who maybe was going to Dallas, but I don't know if you all heard about this. Jerry Jones was blabbing his mouth in an interview, I guess after the first round, talking about how much he likes Jonathan Brooks and how he was one of the best interviews he had. And, unfortunately, Jerry Jones's son was kind of nudging him, please shut up.
Shut up, Dad. Dad, shut up. Dad, shut up.
I forget their guy who's done an awesome job almost year in, year out in their drafting. I always blank on his name, who is essentially their GM. I mean, he probably gets paid handsomely, and that's why he stays there. But he also, you could tell, was just you got to be kidding me. Why are you talking about this right now? So
loose lips sink ships, that kind of thing.
Yeah, unfortunately, Jonathan Brooks didn't get back to him because I believe in Carolina traded up. So.
And did I read the Cowboys are going to re-sign?
They are.
They are.
Zeke Elliott.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, 2 years later. Hey, come on back. We loved you anyway.
Oh, my God. So.
All right. We got a couple of minutes left. Anything else? Sorry, I'm getting choked up about the draft. Wow.
No, that's pretty much it. I think we've covered pretty much everything that needs to be covered, right? Wall to wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just since Lowe's got to take his pop shots on Kirk Cousins, I'll just say I'm praying for you, Jaden Daniels. I'm praying for you, the Cliff Kingsbury. It is a 4-play Tecmo's Super Bowl playbook doesn't get you killed. So I'm praying for you for the Washington Commanders
in that great big house he has out in the desert.
Yeah. So.
All right, well, we'll bring to a close this edition of Sports and Other Stuff. We're brought to you in part by Henry Lawrence Clothier. That's where the models buy their clothes. There are many convenient locations throughout the metro. There's a guy there. We know him. He's working tonight. His name is
Fish. And this week, a momentous occasion in television has Fish gearing up for an As Seen on TV celebration. In 1952, Mr. Potato Head was the first toy ever advertised on television. To mark that first, Fish has teamed up with Mattel and Hasbro for this fun event. Come on down at 1 p.m. and bring your favorite toys. Fish expects everything from Rock'em Sock'em robots to Dragon's Dogma 2. Admission is $20 and gets you a liter of Big Red and a family-sized bag of pork rinds. Proceeds benefit the Carpal Tunnel Fund. Come on down.
Mr. Potato Head lives on. All right. This has been Sports and Other Stuff. Thanks for watching and listening. We'll see you next time. So long for now.
You got to catch the football. Get your hands out in front and catch the football.
So long.